Hi friends, welcome. I'm Buddy Wagner, your mental health professor, wishing you the best of mental health. Do you suffer from anxiety? If so, you've come to the right place. Today, I want to teach you a step-by-step process to lower your anxiety one step at a time until you have totally eliminated your anxiety and you're feeling calm and comfortable. And so what I want you to do is get your anxiety up to about an 8 on a 10-point scale, with 1 being no anxiety, 10 being unbearable anxiety. Get your anxiety up to about an 8 on that scale. You may need to take yourself mentally back into a situation where you were feeling really anxious. But get your anxiety up to about an 8. And then when you're at that 8, I want you to pay attention to yourself and notice everything about yourself. Notice everything about yourself, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're behaving, how you look, everything about yourself, and get a very clear understanding of yourself at an 8. And then once you have that clear picture of yourself as at an 8, I want you to look at a 7. What would it take for you to move from an 8 to a 7? How do you need to change how you're thinking, or how you're feeling, or how you're behaving? What do you need to do? What changes do you need to make to move from an 8 to a 7? And once you understand what you need to do, then take that action, do that, and move from an 8 to a 7. And then when you get to a 7, look at 6. What is the difference between a 7 and a 6? Are you thinking differently, feeling differently, looking differently, behaving differently? But what's the difference between a 7 and a 6? And once you realize what differences there are, make those changes so that now you've moved from a 7 to a 6. And then when you get to a 6, look at 5. Notice the differences between a 6 and a 5. And as you pay attention to those differences and realize the difference between a 6 and a 5, make those changes and move from a 6 to a 5. And then when you get to 5, look at 4. What are the differences between a 5 and a 4? What would it take for you to do to move from a 5 to a 4? And once you've got that figured out, make those changes and move from a 5 to a 4. And then when you get to 4, look at 3. What are the differences between a 4 and a 3? Are you thinking differently, looking differently, feeling differently, behaving differently? What's the difference between a 4 and a 3? And as you notice those differences and you know what they are, move from a 4 to a 3. Make those changes and move from a 4 to a 3. And then when you get to 3, look at 2. What are the differences between a 3 and a 2? Noticing all of those differences and then making those changes so that you move from a 3 to a 2. And then when you get to 2, look at 1. What are the differences between a 2 and a 1? What changes do you need to make to move from a 2 to a 1? And once you realize those changes, the differences, then make those changes and move from a 2 to a 1. And of course, when you reach 1, your anxiety is gone, you're feeling calm and comfortable. And so this is a technique you can use, taking one step at a time, moving one step at a time, noticing the differences between one step and the step just below it, and then making those changes to make that move. And you can work yourself down the scale, whatever level of anxiety you start with. You can start there and move yourself down the scale one step at a time until your anxiety is gone. I hope this has been helpful. If so, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. And if you know someone who could use this information, please share it with them. I'm Buddy Wagner, your mental health professor, wishing you the best of mental health.